Jake Lloyd, the actor for young Anakin Skywalker, once claimed there was a 6-hour cut of The Phantom Menace, but there exists even more Star Wars content locked behind the Lucasfilm doors, like longer battles of Geonosis and Coruscant, unreleased scenes with Obi-Wan exploring Utapau, and even the entirely new show Star Wars Underworld, which was abandoned by Disney. And starting with the supposed 6-hour cut of The Phantom Menace, so in 2011 there was an interview from that shelf with Jake Lloyd, and he is asked by the interviewer Noah if he was to do an alternate cut of the film, what he would change, and Jake responds with,
I don't know, well, I'd have to ask for the original 6-hour cut.
So there you have it. He also says that Matthew Wood, who got to watch it during the editing process, described it as mind-blowingly awesome. Now this introduces two possibilities.
Always two there are.
Jake was exaggerating here, and this original cut is only 4 to 5 hours with the deleted scenes and longer rough edits, or the other, which is that there are actually multiple sequences and parts of the movie that have never been talked about before to the public in either the behind the scenes documentary, the making of book, or the DVD deleted scenes and crew interviews. Now what could be in these lost sections? Could it be the part from the novel where the Tusken Raider boy is saved by Anakin on Tatooine? Well, one thing that could give an extra 30 minutes or so is longer versions of just about every scene in the film. Because despite The Phantom Menace having some relatively slower sections, it still has extremely fast pacing between scenes and shots within scenes, not showing anything which isn't absolutely necessary, as is the Star Wars fast-paced style. This would change the movie from 2 hours and 16 minutes into 2 hours and 46 minutes. Also, when we add in the released deleted scenes, including trash-talking droids on the Trade Federation ship, waterfall sequence, extended pod race wager, Padme waking up Anakin the morning before the pod race, an extended introduction to the pod racers and an extended pod race, Anakin fights Greedo, Anakin says bye to Jira, and him and Qui-Gon are followed by a probe droid, longer Tatooine lightsaber fight, Bail Organa from Alderaan in the Senate as a different actor, a Naboo soldier shows Padme that the battle droids have been deactivated, and Anakin returns to the hangar. This would probably add an extra 20 minutes to the film, making it 3 hours and 6 minutes, and unreleased deleted moments that we have never seen in full form before include Obi-Wan arriving on Naboo, Qui-Gon lecturing Obi-Wan about allowing his lightsaber to die out, more scenes of Jar Jar's clumsiness. I'm sure everyone really wanted to see those. R2-D2 was actually going to fall off of the Coruscant landing platform and use his rocket boots to fly back up, which would have been the first appearance of those, but the practical effect for this was unusable, so this was saved for Episode 2 and Episode 3 with CGI. There would also be more of the Jedi Council talking, more scenes and lines from Darth Maul, Chancellor Valorum confronting Palpatine about Queen Amidala's vote of no confidence, Darth Maul throws objects at Obi-Wan with the Force during their duel, which is just one of the many pieces cut from their duel, like Darth Maul jumping onto the highest catwalk, and also a second shot of him kicking Obi-Wan. It is true that movies cut out insane amounts of footage to create a fast-paced and smooth piece of art, but even that knowledge isn't enough to explain how a 6-hour cut of The Phantom Menace could truly exist without new sections of the movie being around that we've never been told about. It's possible that things from the novelization, like I mentioned earlier, such as Anakin going out into the desert and saving a young Tusken Raider boy, are sequences that were at one point in the movie's massive runtime. So another topic that relates to The Phantom Menace is the conversion to Star Wars movies in 3D that was being done in the early 2010s, where Lucasfilm planned to release the full sextilogy in theaters in 3D. And somehow, sextilogy is a term people use when talking about a series of 6 movies, even though it's not a real word.
What do you know?
But this treatment was only ever applied to The Phantom Menace in 2012. 13 years later after the movie's release, and once Disney acquired Star Wars, they put a halt to these releases as well as any home release of The Phantom Menace in 3D. So we never got Revenge of the Sith in 3D, unfortunately. 1313 is a Star Wars game which got far into development with a watchable demo and gameplay teaser showed at E3 in June of 2012, but once George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney in that same year, the game was halted after LucasArts was shut down and any future Star Wars games were handed over to EA. It was to star Boba Fett in a third-person shooter in the Coruscant underworld, specifically level 1313, and was going to take a more dark, gritty look on the Star Wars mythos, while also applying a backstory to Boba Fett. Now I'm going to look at one deleted scene from each Star Wars movie that has never been completed or released to the public, although most of them have existing frames from them that are taken. Skipping The Phantom Menace since we already looked at that one thoroughly, with Attack of the Clones, we have an extended version of the duel between Dooku and Anakin, Obi-Wan and Yoda, which would have had Dooku with dual wielding and with his lightsaber as well as Obi-Wan's lightsaber. I think it would have been cool to see Dooku using Jar-Kai, which is the lightsaber form where you wield two lightsabers, as he would later teach this to Ventress, and that would make a cool connection there to show his experience in lightsaber dueling. From Revenge of the Sith, we have the Nos Monster scene, which takes place right after Order 66, and while in the original we see Obi-Wan climbing out of the water onto the rocky cliff, and then pan over to the Prowler 1000 Seeker droid, which is hovering over in his direction, but in this deleted scene, he would escape a Nos monster in the depths of Utapau and sneak past some baby Nos monsters after the adult one would attack some Seeker droids. There is an existing live-action image of the Nos monster, as well as other incomplete frames from this scene that would have been cool to see in full form on the DVD. Revenge of the Sith has an unfathomably large haul of unreleased moments, which would be a great video to look at for another time. However, there are animatics that existed for an extended battle of Geonosis for Attack of the Clones, and also apparently a 1-hour battle of Coruscant, much of which is formed of deleted scenes that I've covered in my all deleted scenes from the prequels ranked video. To put this into perspective, the original Battle of Coruscant, including the rescue of Chancellor Palpatine and everything, is only about 20 to 25 minutes, so you can tell how huge of a change that would have been. In A New Hope, not only is there a lost cut of the film, which was the rough edits with no effects and a very slow pace, which caused Lucas to fire the editor, it included things like the attack on the Tantive 4, cutting to Tatooine, and ruining the pacing of that scene, as well as a longer cantina sequence showcasing more aliens, which can be found on YouTube, and with reused costumes in the holiday special. The scene I'm picking for A New Hope for this section is that of Luke naming himself Luke Starkiller to Leia in her cell, which was changed by Lucas on the day to Luke Skywalker, another name which had been floating around in early drafts of the script. In The Empire Strikes Back, there is a scene of Luke walking through the aftermath of the Battle of Hoth, and Return of the Jedi apparently has a scene of Luke performing a force jump in the Rancor pit to escape from the beast, which hasn't been finished. Star Wars Detours was a CGI animated show from the early 2010s with nearly 40 completed episodes, some of which have pieces on YouTube, but was cancelled by Disney for conflicting with the release of The Force Awakens. It's actually really funny, and I would definitely recommend searching it up on YouTube if you haven't given it a chance yet. So Black Angel was a short film which was lost by a friend of George Lucas, who was the set director that worked on A New Hope, and it follows a knight with some sort of entity that he ends up fighting, and it took them like 30 years to restore it, but they finally got it again. So technically it's not lost anymore, but it was lost for 3 different decades. Again, let me know if you want to see that Revenge of the Sith Lost Media video, because there's definitely some things that you wouldn't have ever heard of anywhere else.
In the description of this video, you will find a link to DBB H Store. If you wish to support the Empire I mean Republic, you should check out the new fall merch drop. Not only are there new sweatpants and sweaters with the messages of deleted scene and Dooku head,
but there's also some fire Anakin streetwear too. Wait, are those younglings over there?
But anyway, that's it for this video. You can subscribe if you want to. Also consider checking out the new fall merch drop, which is going to be in the description below, as we have some brand new products on there that you'll probably really like, such as the Dooku head sweatpants, which are pretty dope if you ask me. Also, leave a comment down below if you have any questions about this video, any video suggestions for future things I should do, or if you just want to tell me how your week's been going. I upload normal videos every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I also post shorts every single day. But yeah, see ya.